All right, today we're going to break down something pretty cool, Omnissa Horizon's Next-Gen DaaS, or Desktop as a Service. It's a totally new way of thinking about a huge problem. How do you deliver thousands of virtual desktops simply and at a massive scale? Let's dive in.
So, what's the big challenge we're even trying to solve here? Well, for pretty much any IT team out there, it boils down to two things that don't usually play nice together: scale and complexity.
I want you to just let that number sink in for a minute. 20,000 individual user desktops. We're not just talking about flipping a switch to turn them on. No, you have to patch them, secure them, update them, and make sure every single user has a smooth, fast experience. It's an absolute logistical nightmare. And that really gets to the heart of the issue with traditional VDI, or virtual desktop infrastructure. The old way meant you had to manage this mountain of your own hardware and software. It's just so complex, it gets incredibly expensive, and it was never, ever designed for the kind of scale that modern businesses demand today. So, if the old way is broken, what's the fix? Well, this is where we shift from the problem to the solution, a totally cloud-first architecture that was built from the ground up to solve this exact challenge. Okay, I know the official definition is a bit of a mouthful, but the words you really want to focus on are modern, cloud-first, and high scale. This isn't just some minor update. It's a completely different way of thinking about how you deliver desktops as a service from the cloud.
And this quote right here, it just nails the two main goals. Goal number one, handle huge, demanding workloads without breaking a sweat. And goal number two, do it in a way that actually makes life simpler for everybody involved, both the IT admins and, of course, the people using the desktops.
So, how does it all work, right? How can it be both massive in scale and simple to manage? Well, it's not exactly magic, but it does come down to two really key architectural ideas. The first big idea is something called a thin edge. The concept is actually pretty simple. You pull all the heavy, complex management stuff out of your own environment, and you let it run centrally in the cloud. So what you're left with, the edge, is incredibly lightweight. This makes it way easier to manage and scale up. Now, the other side of that coin is the Horizon control plane. You can think of this as the centralized brain for the entire operation. It's a single console living in the cloud where you manage absolutely everything. No more juggling a dozen different systems. It is all right there in one place. And here it is, the difference in a nutshell. Look at the left. That's the old way. Heavy, complicated infrastructure that you have to manage inside your own cloud space. Now look at the right, the new way. A simple, thin edge, with all the complexity being handled by that central control plane. The difference in management overhead is it's night and day. Okay, so that's the big idea, right? Now let's take a quick peek under the hood at the specific parts that actually make this whole thin edge architecture come to life. It really just boils down to three key pieces. First, you've got the Universal Console. That's your web-based command center. Then you have the Horizon Edge Gateway. That's the lightweight piece of software that you deploy into your Azure subscription to connect everything up. And finally, you have your own Azure infrastructure, which is where the actual desktops are going to live. Now, the key takeaway here, and this is super important, is that this isn't some separate, isolated service. It is designed to plug natively into the Microsoft Azure environment you are probably already using. It works with your subscriptions, your networks, your security. It becomes a natural part of your cloud strategy, not just another thing bolted on the side. Okay, so we've covered what it is and how it works. Now for the most important part. Who cares? What are the actual real-world benefits for IT teams and for the business as a whole? So let's just start with the headline number, the one that makes everyone sit up and pay attention. 20,000. A single lightweight edge deployment can support up to 20,000 users. Just think about what that really means for your management overhead. Instead of juggling dozens of different server clusters, you're managing one simple, efficient edge. That is a game changer. And the benefits go way beyond just scale. For the admins, it means much simpler management with these really helpful guided workflows. It means tighter security with features like true single sign-on, so users can log in once and get to everything. It means better performance because it's using native Azure tech. And it all leads back to that huge reduction in overhead, which makes your entire team more effective. So, to wrap this all up, I'll leave you with a big question to chew on. With this huge shift to a central control plane and a simple, thin edge, are we actually seeing the beginning of the end for the old, complicated way of managing desktops at scale? It's definitely something to think about.